Alrighty, here we go. Welcome to First Generation Students Day, brought to you by College Week Live, Chegg, and I'm First. We're really excited to have you here, especially for this presentation. There's something special about being first. I'm Matt Rubinoff, founder and executive director of the Center for Student Opportunity, creators of the I'm First project, which you'll learn a little bit more about over the next few minutes. I want to first apologize for the dull background behind me. This isn't a hostage situation. I'm in a hotel room in Cleveland, but really happy to be able to join you guys today for this event in celebration and support of students who will be among the first in their family to make it to and hopefully through college. So without further ado, I want to go through a few slides with you guys. I think we can all agree that there is something special about being the first in your family to attend and graduate from college. There are more than 15 million students enrolled in post-secondary institutions today. 24% of the undergraduate student population are low-income first-gen college students. Unfortunately, 9 out of every 10 won't earn a bachelor's degree. The issue, in my opinion, isn't so much that first-generation college students lack the motivation or qualification for college, but more so that they too often lack access to good information to successfully navigate the college search and application process, and really more importantly, access the colleges that are most committed to their success. So that's where we come in. In 2006, my organization, Center for Student Opportunity, was created to help first gens with the college search and planning, and we partner with four-year residential colleges and universities that share our commitment to supporting first-generation college students. We've learned a couple things along the way. One is that popular college search and planning tools, websites and guidebooks, usually aren't cutting it for the unique needs and interests of first-generation college students. And two, as much as well-meaning counselors and teachers and mentors want to help, at the end of the day, students are responding most to their peers to motivate them in their pursuit of college. So last year, with the help of a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we launched the I'm First project, imfirst.org. It's an online community that's celebrating first-generation college students and supporting the next generation of students who are.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Gabe and I'm a freshman here at Brown. Sorry about that. Matt lost connection, so I'll be taking control real quick until he gets back. Um, and meanwhile, while I wait for him to connect, I guess I'll tell you a little bit more about who I am before he gets here. My name is Gabe again. I'm studying cognitive neuroscience and psychology. I received the I'm First scholarship this past summer, and I think that's pretty much basic information before the interview process begins with Matt. I really don't want to take control of this slide, so let me just see what's going on here. Hmm. Okay, so let's see. I guess meanwhile I wait, I think I can answer one question that Matt wanted me to talk to you guys about, which was where my family came from and my journey as a first generation college student. So I'm originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico, but my parents are originally from Mexico and they emigrated to the United States before I was born here. So while I do have citizenship status here, my parents do not. And because of their lack of a social security number, this made it extremely difficult for them to have high paying jobs. And so my dad and my mom both worked as cooks, and they had to work long hours in order to provide for the family. And so education was sort of a way to escape our socioeconomic status. And unfortunately, though, that didn't work out. But I will explain more to you that as soon as my interview process begins, because I believe Matt will be back soon. But essentially, one of the things that I realized on my journey was the fact that there is definitely an escape from poverty. There's definitely a way to go to college without having to worry about a massive tuition bill or putting your family in debt. And yeah, so I think Matt will come back to you right away. So Matt, whenever you're ready, feel free to take control and hope everything works.
Hey guys, so sorry about that. Again, hotel room in Cleveland. Thanks, Gabe, for pinch hitting there. We're going to get back to Gabe in just a few minutes and learn a lot more about his story and his advice for aspiring first generation college students. So it looks like I got disconnected on the conversation about the college search part of I'm First. The profile on I'm First for colleges is really unique in that it gets beyond painting the broad brushstroke of an institution and focuses more on the important campus programs and opportunities for first gens. Do they offer a fly-in program for prospective students, a summer bridge program for incoming students, or even a peer mentoring program on campus that's going to help students persist to graduation? The facts and figures on the college profile highlight important student diversity, student success, and affordability metrics. I'mFirst.org is also a stories campaign whereby we are collecting YouTube videos from first-generation college students and graduates across the country. The stories are coming from current students, successful graduates across many careers, college deans and presidents, even some familiar faces like First Lady Michelle Obama shared her I'm First story with us. She's a first-generation college graduate from Princeton University in New Jersey. And together, these stories are inspiring and offering advice to the next generation of students who will be first. So when you visit I'mFirst.org, definitely navigate over to that stories page and watch some of these videos. Maybe you feel inspired to even share your own I'm First story and talk about how important college is for you and will be for your family. I'm First also features a blog that's written by current first-generation college students who we've awarded scholarships to. The I'm First Scholarship is awarded to 8 to 10 first-generation college students every year. In addition to the financial award, usually between $4,000 and $8,000, these students become bloggers on our website, and they chronicle their college experiences. They give advice to the next generation of students who will be first. So the blog is also a really helpful tool for a lot of students to follow the stories and the trials and tribulations and the good and bad from those who have paved the way in front of you and that you'll be following in their footsteps. So definitely also encourage you to visit the blog when you visit I'mFirst.org. So with that, I want to introduce Gabe Reyes, who you've already met. He's one of our first-year scholarship student bloggers. He hails from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and is attending Brown University. We want to do a bit of an interview. We have some pre-planned questions that Gabe's going to answer for you guys, but encourage you guys to share your own questions as well for us to answer before the end of this talk. So hopefully you guys see the Q&A box there. If you have any questions, feel free to share those with us, and we'll get to them. So, without further ado, we'll bring Gabe in here. And Gabe, I'm not sure how much of this you already covered while I got disconnected, but maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself, your upbringing, where you're from, and your family. That'd be great. A great place to start.
Thanks, Matt. Um, Again, I'm really sorry ahead of time for any of the technical difficulties that may occur. So this is a foreshadowing apology in case my internet connection tends to buffer out. But yes, to reiterate more what I was telling you about when it comes to my family history. So, like I said, my parents are originally from Mexico, and they emigrated here to the United States and lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I was born. And growing up, I would say there were a couple of struggles, especially academically, because Spanish was the first language that I learned, and it was the first language that all of my family members actually learned. So did my siblings, and so. But in the area that we lived, it was very difficult for us to assimilate to the new American culture because of our lack of ability to speak English. So my older sister was bullied, she was teased, she was mocked for her inability to understand or comprehend English. And as a result, she would be picked on, she would uh, be attacked, she would get things robbed from her, and I would always see her come home crying every night. So as a result, I learned how to speak English and how to write English by the time I was 3 years old to kind of accommodate that uh, situation that we were in. And at that kind of time, that was just one thing that my parents have always taught me to do was that in the face of adversity, just to make sure to approach it with confidence that I can overcome it, but also being altruistic in the sense that I should try to do things for the good of others. So my desire to learn English wasn't just so that I can avoid that sort of hostility within the schools, but also so that I can stand up for my sister in the event that that were to occur again. But in addition to that, like I said before, we were also low-income families, and this resulted in us having to be extremely transient. So we were never in one place for very long because of the fact that my dad would have to find a new job, or our apartment was extremely expensive, so we would have to move somewhere else. So relationships with a lot of friends that I made at school was short-lived, but that did teach me, the value of a friend and the value of other people's company. So that's pretty much the kind of history that I have growing up and kind of my desires that led to an education. So Matt, you may ask the second question if you or more to say.
Thanks, Gabe. Really great story. I guess, how was education viewed in your family? Did you always know that you'd be going to college?
Yeah, so I knew from a very young age that I was going to go to college, albeit I didn't know I was going to go to an Ivy League school. Um, Growing up, my parents put a lot of pressure on me to be the first in my family to go to college because of some personal issues that occurred. My older sister was on the track to be the first one to go to college, but adversity got the best of her and she succumbed to some of it, although she's doing much better now. Um, but as a result, my parents did put a lot of hopes that I would be the first one to attend a college without having to pay for it. And so, and so, as a child, I always kept college in the back of my head. I always awaited the long fated college admission season, but I didn't think I would actually go to a prestigious university. I actually never even considered it my senior year because of the fact of the tuition bill, and I knew that that was out of my parents' range. I knew that they didn't offer any merit scholarships, so I knew that affording that high price for a school like Brown was something out of my parents' reach. So I tried to make sure that the colleges I was looking at was something that could either pay my way by scholarship or it was something that was affordable to my parents. So along the lines, though, I did end up finding QuestBridge, which is a scholarship organization that links low-income students to the top elite schools through their financial aid. So when I found QuestBridge, I immediately told my parents that I was considering some of the top-tier universities, and that's kind of how it drove from there. So during that time, I took everything that happened in my life to try to apply it to my senior year and hopefully get admitted to where I am today. So I hope that answers your question, Matt.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Really good stuff. I'm glad you found QuestBridge. Um, who or what would you consider were the biggest influencers in support in your college search and application process?
Um, so definitely the biggest support that I had in my college process would have to be my best friend Swan. And she is Vietnamese and we met in fifth grade. Although when we met as sort of academic rivals. I ended up living in Denver, Colorado for 5 years. And when I moved back to Albuquerque, I came in the middle of the school year, and when I arrived my first day, we had a math test. And when we took the exam, I just decided to take the exam and see how I did and fared. And I ended up getting a perfect score, and I finished the exam before anyone in the class did. But I didn't know that there was a student in the class who had a reputation of finishing first and scoring perfectly on the exam, and that happened to be Swan. And she really liked the title, and I guess she was just a little upset with um with having lost that to me, so she ended up hating me. And I really couldn't say the same thing about her because I really didn't know who she was. But we ended up, I guess, being very distant, fifth grade and middle school years. But in high school, we ended up doing the same college program, which is called Upward Bound. And from then on, we become extremely close with each other. We handle our academic aspirations together as a unit. And when it came to someone who had more faith in me and my ability to get admitted to these schools, it was definitely Swan. Like I said before, I was committed to just going to a local state university at New Mexico for uh, financial issues, but also because of lack of confidence to actually get into a tier one university. But she was the only one who actually saw potential in me when I didn't see potential. So when I told her I was going to apply to UNM, she actually stopped me and she said, I think you should consider schools like Harvard or Brown or Stanford. And so during the entire senior year, I had these desires to just stay locally, but there was always a driving force who was trying to push me to do further than what I could do, better than my family was, better than any of my teachers or the counseling, better than even myself. So I definitely have to give credit to my best friend Swan, wherever she is now at Amherst. Hopefully she can see this, but I definitely have to thank her a lot because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten the Einfer scholarship. I would not have gotten into Brown. I definitely probably wouldn't have left New Mexico for college if she hadn't given me the extra push that I needed to actually apply to these programs. So that is my answer.
Cool. Really great testament to the power of peer influence and how important that really is in motivating and encouraging students, especially first gens, in their pursuit of college. Um, so, Gabe, maybe thinking back, what's one lesson you learned along the way that you think all future first gens should know?
I think one lesson that I learned about the entire process, especially as a first gen student, was to have confidence in my own abilities to achieve whatever I set my mind on. I know that there's always this mentality that if you work hard and you put enough effort into it, you'll get what it is you put into it. And that is entirely true, especially because going into this entire process, I told myself that as a first generation low income student, there was very little to no chance that I would be able to go to a great college, let alone a college in general, without having to suffer even more than I probably already have. But going through the entire process, it definitely seemed that there is a lot of possibilities. There was a lot of guidance, a lot of support for students who are in need of who are first generation, excuse me, and need that extra guidance. And I feel that because of that, I've learned more to try to seek out that extra help, to learn to be more ambitious when it comes to something that I set my mind on. So I think that even though the odds were against me, and even though there was a lot of obstacles in my life compared to some other students who may have had it easier to get into college, I think it just goes to show that the impossible that we may consider the impossible is definitely possible with enough work, with enough guidance, with enough tenacity to actually achieve what it is we want to achieve. And I feel like it's different for a lot of individuals, but with a lot of programs like, for example, the I'm First, with QuestBridge, Upward Bound, or even Google nowadays with all this technology, I feel that it's definitely much easier for a first generation student to get admitted if they just have the desire to do so. So one thing I have told myself is that even though statistically it may be against us, I know that it's something that I should just be a driving force to move and encourage myself to be better than I can be and be something that I want to be, regardless of my background, regardless of my socioeconomic status. And yeah, so that's one lesson that I have learned throughout this entire process.
Great message. Certainly, that college is possible. It takes hard work and perseverance, but certainly you can make your college dreams a reality. Great, Gabe. So, how did you find Brown University, or how did they find you? And what appealed to you about the school, especially being a first-generation college student?
Okay, yes. So this is actually a fairly recent question, so I hope I can answer it without stuttering as much as I am. But I think, like I said before, I found Brown University through the QuestBridge program. And the summer before my senior year, I was named a college prep scholar through the QuestBridge program, and they invited me to an admissions conference at Northwestern University, which I attended. And when I got there, there was a college fair with all the partner schools that are with the program, and I found Brown through that college, that conference. And so from then on, I did a little research with all the schools that were there because the number one factor when it came to choosing a school outside New Mexico was the financial aid. I think QuestBridge gave us this quote that said that when you're looking at a college, look at the financial aid and not the price tag, which is exactly what I did because I figured if I'm going to a school, I hope that the school can support me financially to pay for tuition, to pay for personal expenses, to pay for my books, my travel to and from the school and back home. So I narrowed it down to a couple of schools that are listed with QuestBridge and a school outside of QuestBridge. And when I came to choosing Brown, I focused a lot on the intangible aspects of the school. So I picked schools based on academic programs, location, environments, professors that I admired. But when it came down to the ultimate decision, it really focused a lot on the intangible aspects of the schools. And so I would have to say, which leads to my second, is the student body. So I knew that Brown would be extremely competitive and extremely rigorous when it came to the selection process. But what I really hoped the most was that in the event that I did get admitted, I hoped that the student body would not be a Shark Tank, and that the student body wouldn't be out to get me or try to cheat their way to the top by either stealing exams or hurting other people's academic performance so that they can be on top or trying to get the best internship. So I knew that I really wanted to go to a school where the environment was universally collaborative, but also socially accepting and tolerant. And I heard that Brown's campus was extremely happy and jovial. So I looked more into the school. I called the admissions officer. I spoke to a lot of students who went there and I asked them if they can tell me about their experience. And I just found a lot of happy reviews from students and from the faculty that go there. So I ended up getting admitted through Brown through the regular decision process. And I flew for the admitted program, and it was definitely everything I had wanted it to be. Um, there's a bunch of students constantly exchanging smiles. They're all laughing. Everyone's so eager to help you. And I mean, when I went to the school for the visit, there was study groups pervasive throughout the campus. And I feel like that really did like give me an insight as the kind of school I wanted because I knew that when it came to my personal academic philosophy, it was always this work hard, play hard with all my friends. It was a matter of making sure that I worked hard with everyone else, but I also knew that it was a matter of, for an ambitious purpose, for me to attain my career goal, for me to go to graduate school or law school. But I also knew that I didn't want to outbeat the next student next to me. I actually wanted to work with the student body. And I feel that Brown does foster this sort of environment because of their open curriculum. So you'll hear more about Brown if you actually study it, which makes them extremely famous because of their um, open curriculum, which pretty much states that there are no requirements here at the school. So I don't have to take a minimum English course load or math course load or study languages. Students here are given the freedom to take any class that they want without any restrictions or without any strings attached. So I feel that that contributes to a very positive learning environment because you'll never find yourself in a class with students who don't want to be there. So, I mean, I can talk all day about Brown. I really could. And I love the school here so much. I mean, the student body is amazing. I have made some great friends already, and I have been here for a month. And the faculty is superb. You'll definitely find some very caring undergraduate professors who put a lot of effort for their undergraduate students compared to some other top universities, especially big research schools. And you'll also just fall in love with the classes here. You'll fall in love with the location. I mean, Providence is a great place. I rarely find myself bored. It's actually really difficult for me to call back home because there's always something going on. There's always something to do with the other students or there's some homework, but it's definitely been a fun experience. And I feel that Brown is just the epitome of perfection in my perspective. And I just knew that this is the school where I belong. So I feel like that gives the answer, but if that doesn't make sense, you could definitely read my first blog post, which kind of gives a satirical view of why I love Brown. So
Cool. Well, you kind of hit on my next question was, about how your experience has been so far. I know it's only been a couple weeks, but it sounds like you are loving life at Brown. We're going to do one or two more questions pre-planned, and then want to remind everybody out there that you're welcome to ask myself or Gabe any questions you might have. Just type those in the Q&A box. And then we're also going to be chatting at the I'm First page for a little bit, starting at 5:30 Eastern, which is around when we should be wrapping up here. We might even wrap up a little bit sooner. So Kimberly, if you're listening, and you can get our live chat room set up to start sooner, maybe we'll want to do that. But you kind of talked a little bit already, Gabe, about how your experience has been so far. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about your summer bridge program experience. I think it's called Catalyst at Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, so Brown offers a couple pre-orientation programs that students can take before they actually start classes here at Brown. And I ended up being selected for a STEM program called Catalyst, which it was definitely a life-changing experience and definitely the best way for me to assimilate to the college lifestyle here because I found I've actually made really great friends that I still actually communicate with. And so the logistics of the program was they selected 15 of the admitted students to partake in a month-long collaborative program for students who are interested in the STEM-related fields. So as I said before, I'm interested in cognitive neuroscience, but also doing a joint concentration in psychology. So I was admitted to the Catalyst program, and we began on August 1st with some online work. So even though I was still living in New Mexico, I had begun the Catalyst program through Brown um, on my computer. So essentially, what we had to do was just refresh ourselves with a lot of math and prepare ourselves for the week-long residential portion here at Brown. And it was definitely extremely hectic. It really showed me the kind of rigor of the work here at an Ivy League institution. Um, but it was a lot of fun. I had two group members, and we would have video chats every single day. They lasted from 4 to 8 hours because of the amount of work that we were given, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, I was expecting it because being low income, I didn't go to the top school. So I was very, um, how would I say? I was very nervous that I wasn't prepared academically enough to handle the workload at Brown. But during that first 2 weeks with the online work through Catalyst, I definitely got a taste of what it's like to study here at Brown, and it was a lot of fun. The homework was interesting. The group members that I had were amazing and phenomenal, and they were just so helpful, and they were so eager to help and give a hand whenever I needed it. So it was amazing to do that. And then on August 17th, we were all flown to Brown for the residential portion. So the 15 of us met on that Sunday for the on-campus portion, which was for us to partake in a collaborative effort to answer problems as a team, for us to do team projects, to learn what it's like to study here at Brown. We got to meet a lot of the faculty within the STEM department here at Brown, so we got an experience with that. Let's see, I think overall the program was just to expose us to what it's like to pursue a STEM concentration here at Brown, but also to give us an insight as to how we can succeed here at Brown if we want to pursue that sort of area. And I feel that the best thing that I took out from the Catalyst program was, as I said before, the collaboration, because all of us, while we were extremely different, especially when it came to our passions, we all learned how to work with one another. We all learned how to, how do we say, we learned essentially how to work our way through Brown as freshmen, as STEM students, but also as first generation students. A lot of the students in Catalyst were actually first generation, so we were able to make the transition from our home life to college a lot easier because all of us were embarking on the same journey. We were all going through a lot of the same experiences with our past that led up to there. So I think it was just amazing to partake in that. I feel that because of the Catalyst program, I'm a lot comfortable than I could have ever envisioned in my first month here at Brown. I still hang out with the Catalyst group. Actually, we are known here at Brown as the Catalyst clique because we all love each other so much. We all just grew close within that 1 week that we just can't seem to like end our program, even though the program ended weeks ago. So I feel that Catalyst has just been a major catalyst in my life to actually become comfortable here at Brown and to actually be happy instead of being nervous or constantly on my toes, worried about, can I make it? How am I going to do without my mom? What am I going to do? It's been amazing. I feel like a little anecdote, I ended up getting sick this morning, just something that I caught yesterday, and I messaged all of them through our group page, and they all went on a rampage to get me some vitamin C supplements. They got me some food. They all just like barged into my room and asked if I was okay. They watched That's So Raven with me in my room, and it was nice to know that I already have that collegial family that I need in case I need some support academically or personally. So yeah, I mean, I know that was a mouthful, and I'm sorry for how long that was, but yeah, I feel like if you guys ever find yourself at Brown or for whatever college, I definitely encourage you to find some pre-orientation program like that if the school offers, or if not, start one. Definitely something that was a lot of fun. So.
Awesome. Glad you rallied to be with us and that you're feeling better. Gabe mentioned a couple key terms and programs that I want to make sure to point out. One, summer bridge programs to help incoming students really acclimate to college. Catalyst is just one example of a program at Brown, but programs that colleges all over the country are hosting. And for first gen students, especially, summer bridge programs can really be critical to setting you up for a successful transition into college life and getting your feet wet, so to speak, and getting an early start on things. Earlier, he mentioned the fly-in program that he was a part of at Brown that helped him visit campus before he decided he was going to get there, before he was deciding to go there. If you're not already familiar with fly-in programs, do some research around them. There are colleges all over the country that are investing in bringing first-generation, low-income, and minority students to their campus, all expenses paid for a visit, because they want you to go to their school. So check out fly-in programs. If you go to imfirst.org and sign up and use our college search tool, you can actually sort your search by schools that specifically have a fly-in or a visit program. Really, really important programs and opportunities to be aware of as you're researching colleges and deciding where you're going to go. Be on the lookout for fly-in and visit programs. Choose a school that has a summer bridge program that's going to help you transition to college. So Gabe, one more question and then we'll open it up to a few audience questions. Again, send those questions in. We have 2 so far. I want to get to those questions. So Gabe, maybe real quickly, and then we'll get to a couple of these questions. What advice would you give to first gens out there for making a smooth transition to college and setting themselves up for success, other than participating in a summer bridge program? But what have you found to be some successful skills or tactics that you've implemented to be successful both in and out of the classroom?
So if there's one advice that I can offer all of you when it comes to being a first generation student, is definitely just to make sure that you're, and I think I've said this before, and it's just to make sure that you're confident with yourself and in your abilities to succeed. I feel that throughout our lives, we like to have doubts about our own abilities with our academics, with our own personal abilities to accomplish certain goals. And I definitely think that one thing you should know is that it's never impossible unless you make it impossible. So, for example, for a lot of you who are probably looking at colleges and are finishing up your first wave of applications, I definitely think that, you know, it's only going to be impossible if you never submit an application, because you will never get a result. But I feel that if you put the effort, if you show them the tenacity and your passion, it's more than likely for you to actually experience college and to get a lot of assistance from college if you just show them, if you reach out to the colleges and ask for a little bit of help. I think that one thing I have learned is to accept who I am, which that includes being a first generation low income minority here at an Ivy League institution. But I've also learned to make sure that that doesn't necessarily define my interactions with other people. So I know that if for whatever reason I need help, I make sure that I ask someone. I've gotten very comfortable with just asking a random stranger, you know, if they can help me with my college essays, or if they can help me like with this idea that I'm having, or the struggle that I'm issue for college, or what it is I want to study, because I feel that there are a lot of people out there who are willing to help. There are a lot of people out there who are willing to be a part of making sure that your dream becomes a reality. And so I feel that even though the obstacles may occur to us that prevent us and make it seem like it's unlikely that we'll go to college, it'll only be that way if you allow it to be that way. But if you tell yourself that you can do it, if you reach out for resources like imFirst or your college advisor at home or any program locally or even online, you'll definitely be able to make it. And especially myself, I have a lot of info to share, so you're more than welcome to message me through my email. You're more than welcome to find me on Facebook. You can contact me on my Brown email account, and you're more than welcome to ask me for any help, or, you know, if you just want like that confidence boost, I'll be more than happy to give it to you, because the real key to success is just making sure that you're confident with yourself. If you're confident with yourself, you'll succeed at anything that you put your mind to.
Thanks, Gabe. Asking for help, I think, is a universal piece of advice, but especially true for first-generation college students. Don't be afraid to ask for help from a peer, from a professor, from an administrator. Folks want to see you succeed, and your college community is there to help you succeed and persist to graduation. So really great piece of advice, Gabe. Thank you. Ask for help. So important in every aspect of our lives. So we're going to take questions now. Only 2 have come in so far. If you have any more, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, we're going to wrap things up in a few minutes and move over into the chat room on the imFirst page. So you're welcome to continue chatting with us there for a little while. The first question comes from Connor and is a question for me. He says he's had a profile on I'm First for several months. How does the communication work between I'm First students and the colleges of interest that we select on the site? So when you sign up on I'm First and you're using the college search tool, when you come to a college profiles page, you can click a button that says I'm interested, and that button is going to notify that college that you're an interested prospective first-generation college student. You will have built a profile with all of your personal, academic, and extracurricular information that it shares with them. But how the college replies is somewhat up to them and will vary. Colleges will sometimes reply to you within the application, so there is a system messages component. Sometimes the college will just take your information and add it to their prospect database, and you might begin to receive their email newsletters and their mailed packages and all that sort of stuff. We're always encouraging our college partners to pick up the phone and call you guys directly or send you a personal email to greet you and say thank you for connecting with us on I'm First. So we're not making our colleges, we're not making our students any promises that our colleges are going to accept or admit you on the spot, just as we're not promising to our colleges that our students are going to choose them, but we're trying to facilitate some back and forth communication. So be patient and persistent, and give us a shout if we can be any of assistance to you, Connor. My email address is right there, matt@imfirst.org. Next question is from BB. First, BB says to Gabe, you give me hope. I'm a high school senior, and I'm trying to decide which schools to apply to. I'm actually applying to Brown, and your story makes me feel like I have a chance. Thank you. Gabe, hopefully that makes you feel a little warm and fuzzy inside. She then goes on to ask, what part of your application do you think was most influential in your being accepted to Brown?
Okay, well, first, thank you, BB, for those kind words. That's really nice to hear. And to answer your question, so I feel that the most influential part of me being accepted to Brown is very difficult for me to answer because I did not sit in on the admissions process, so I don't know what happened when my admissions officer read my application and what things she made when she was arguing for my admittance into Brown. But if there is one thing that I felt like really did stand out in my personal opinion, it would definitely have to be my essays and my letters of recommendation. Excuse me. When I came to Brown for a day on College Hill, which is their admitted students program, the first thing that my admissions officer said when she saw me was, I loved your essays. They were amazing. Your story really touched me. And so it was a matter of, my words stuck out to her more than a number did. So I feel that in addition to that, she also, again, sorry, she also thanked the advisors and teachers that I had write letters of recommendation to Brown. So they got nice little letters from her who also offered some very positive insights about me. So I feel that when it comes to my personal decision at Brown, it had to deal a lot with my essays and my letters of recommendation.
Great, thanks. So BB also wants to know she's had a difficult time convincing her family to allow her to apply out of state. How's your family dealt with the distance between you and them?
Okay, yeah. So at first, my parents were hesitant as well to allow me to go out of state simply because of financial reasons aspects. They didn't want to, well, it's not that they didn't want to, but they knew that it would be a very risky decision if I were to leave. But I think one thing that made them very comfortable was when I explained to them the entire process. of the college admissions process, especially with financial aid. And while that didn't do the trick at first, I think it helped a lot when I was actually admitted to the schools and they saw the financial aid that the schools offered me. And another thing that Brown did that was very polite of them was that I got a call from students who were trying to reach out to us to answer any questions we had before we made a decision. And one of them wanted to speak specifically with my parents to see if they had any questions that they would like to answer. And my mom took that as an opportunity to ask about how I would be at school, how other students would be at school, what the school would do for me in the event that an accident happened. And so I think that the questions and the concerns that my mom had, once they were addressed by the school or by myself, it made her a lot more comfortable to leave the state. And so I feel that the best thing that you should just do is make sure that you're communicating with your parents about all aspects. Let them know why you want to go to college, let them know why this college is the best for you, and probably what the college can do to help you and going to that institution. And I feel that information is key and integral, and just make sure that you and your parents are on the same page when it comes to the finances and the reality of the college process.
Awesome. Rebecca had the same question or a similar question, so hopefully, Rebecca, that was a helpful insight for you too. Connor wants to know that so he says first to you, Gabe, thanks for sharing your experiences, very helpful. Other than Questbridge and I'm First, how else can I make colleges aware of me and that I'm a first generation college student? I believe if you complete the Common application, they have a field to mark that you are first generation college, so that would be important to do. Also want to encourage you to contact the colleges you're interested directly. Pick up the phone, contact the admissions officer who covers your region, or email them and introduce yourself, making sure to note that you're a first generation college student or will be, and you want to learn a little bit more about what that institution has to offer you in terms of programs and supports and other opportunities. So definitely encourage you to be proud of the fact that you're first gen. Colleges want to know that and appreciate knowing that. It puts a unique lens on their reading of your application, and is a way that they aim to bring more diversity of background and experiences to their institution, is growing that community of first generation college students on their campus. Okay, last question we'll take, and then we're going to move over to the chat room. But Keisha says, I'm a senior and was wondering, should I fill out the applications first or scholarships? Gabe, do you want to take that? I'm sure it's not too far in the distance for you to remember how all that went for you.
Yeah, so I can definitely answer that. Now, the question depends entirely on what you're doing. On what you're doing. So, if you choose to apply to a top-tier university that offers full need financial aid, it might be wise for you to focus more on the application instead of scholarships, being as the fact that those schools have enough money to cover you for whatever you need. Granted that you will also have to fill out the financial aid documents. However, if there are some important scholarships that can help and will be integral to your standing as a college student, I would definitely just make sure that you prioritize on that as well. So for example, I applied to Brown as a regular decision student, and I also applied to the Gates Millennium Scholarship, and all of this was due in January. So that gave me the first semester of high school to focus on that application, but also the Gates Millennium. And when it came to the Questbridge, that was actually due in the early fall, and I believe the deadline is actually coming up, and it's not too late to apply. But so I did the Questbridge program first because I felt that that would help me connect with the schools, and then after I did Questbridge, then I focused the remainder of my time on the schools I wanted to apply that offered full financial need. And I didn't worry about scholarships at then because I knew that these schools would offer enough money for me to go. And so once I finished the college aspect, then I did the Gates Millennium, and that's how I did that. So just make sure you prioritize when it comes to decision. If the school can already offer you enough money that you don't even need scholarships, then I would focus on the schools because they tend to have extremely high, or I should say, I'm sorry, extremely low acceptance rates. So the difficulty is not affording it, it's getting into the school. So just make sure that you prioritize with whatever school you apply, or whichever scholarship you choose to apply. So that's my response to that, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
All right, great. We're going to wrap up now. Gabe, thanks so much for joining us. College Week Live, thanks so much for having us. We're going to go over to the I'm First page and live chat there with you guys for a little while. If you have some more questions to ask us there, feel free to contact us by email. Email addresses are there, and also go to imfirst.org and sign up if you haven't already to join our community. Research colleges that care about first gens. Follow our student blog written by Gabe and other current first generation college students. Hear inspiring YouTube video stories from first gen students and graduates, and maybe even share your own. And for graduating seniors, the I'm First scholarship application comes available in the spring, March, April, May. The deadline is usually mid to late May, after that May 1st deposit deadline, because it's important that you know where you're going to school. But it'd be awesome for you guys to apply for our scholarship, win it, and become an I'm First student blogger like Gabe for your 4 years of college. So with that, we're going to say thank you and hope to see you in our chat room. Good luck to everybody in becoming the first in your family to go to college. Thanks so much.